Do you know that feeling? You have been working on something, maybe for weeks, maybe for months. You have poured real energy into it, real time, real effort, real pieces of yourself, and you finally bring it somewhere. You finally show someone. You finally step into a room with it, and someone just dismisses it. Not with an argument, not with a reason, not with anything you can push back against. They just wave a hand, they smirk, they say something small and cutting and move on like you were never even there. And you are left standing there holding this thing you built, this thing that cost you something, and suddenly it feels like nothing. And the worst part is not even what they said. The worst part is what happens inside you after. The heat that rises, the voice in your head that says you should have stayed quiet, the second guessing, the replay. You go over it on the walk home. You go over it in the shower the next morning. You go over it at 2 a.m. when you should be asleep. Most people think the problem is the disrespect. It is not. The problem is what most people do with it, because almost everyone handles this wrong, not because they are weak, not because they are stupid, but because nobody ever actually showed them what to do instead. Today, that changes. My name is Captain Borehead. I have been dismissed by admirals. I have been laughed at by generals. I have been called a fishing boat captain by a man whose ship now sits at the bottom of the ocean, not because I sank it, but because karma has a very good sense of humor. I have been where you are, more times than I can count, and I am going to show you through something that happened on this ship not very long ago exactly how to handle every Captain Reeve in your life. Because there will always be a Captain Reeve, and after today you are going to know exactly what to do when he shows up. It was a Tuesday afternoon on the open Caribbean Sea. The rotten Kraken, my ship, was doing what she always does, moving forward. The water was calm and flat and the color of dark glass. The sky was that particular blue that makes you feel like the world is bigger than all your problems, the kind of afternoon where everything feels possible. The crew was working, sails were trimmed, ropes were coiled, the ship smelled like salt and old wood, and whatever bee was attempting to cook below deck, which is a smell I will not try to describe here because there are no words sufficient for it. I was at the helm, my hands on the wheel, the compass at my belt that I never actually look at because I navigate by instinct and Tomas's panic, which is essentially the same thing. The ship was mine, and it was moving, and that, if you know anything about life, is already most of what you need. Then Squint called down from the crow's nest. Now I want you to understand something about Squint. Squint's eyes work at about 40% capacity on a good day. He has been our lookout for 6 years because he is the most enthusiastic person we have ever met, and nobody had the heart to tell him. When Squint says he sees something on the horizon, there is roughly a 60% chance he is correct, a 30% chance he is looking at a cloud, and a 10% chance he is asleep up there and dreaming. This time he was correct. On the horizon, moving fast and moving straight toward us, was another ship, and even from that distance, even through Squint's questionable eyesight and even smaller spyglass, you could see it was expensive, the kind of ship that costs more than most people make in a lifetime. Clean hull, white sails that had clearly never seen a storm, brass fittings that caught the sun and threw it back at you like an insult. It belonged to Captain Reeve. Now, if you do not know the name Captain Reeve, let me describe him to you. Captain Reeve is the kind of man who has never had to struggle for anything and has mistaken that for superiority. He is polished, he is well connected, he has the right coat, the right ship, the right title, and absolutely zero self-awareness about how he got any of it. He has never lost a battle because he only ever picks fights he is certain he will win. He has never faced a real storm because he always sails the routes that other ships already cleared. He is successful in the way that some people are successful, not because of what they built, but because of what they were handed and had the good sense not to lose. Men like Captain Reeve have been on this ocean for as long as there has been an ocean. They are not just pirates. They are your co-worker who takes credit for your idea in front of the whole team. They are the person at the party who talks over everything you say. They are the family member who asks when you are going to do something real with your life, as if what you are already doing is invisible. Captain Reeve comes in 1,000 different costumes, but underneath every single one of them, he is the same thing, a person who makes themselves feel bigger by making other people feel smaller. And the reason it works, the reason people like him keep doing it, is because most people give him exactly the reaction he is looking for. I did not always know how to stop doing that. I had to learn it. And learning it, actually learning it, not just hearing it but living it, changed everything about how I move through the world. This is how I learned it. His ship came alongside the rotten Kraken, slow and deliberate, the way a cat walks into a room it already owns. He was not in a hurry. He wanted to be seen arriving. And I will admit, standing at my helm, watching that ship pull up there was a moment, a brief, honest moment where I felt the thing you feel, the thing everyone feels when something shiny and expensive shows up next to something you built with your 2 hands. That flicker, that half-second of comparison, that tiny voice that says, maybe he sees something real. I want you to hold on to that, because that feeling, that flicker, is exactly what Captain Reeve is counting on. He has built his whole personality around finding that flicker in other people and throwing fuel on it. His ship settled alongside ours, and he appeared at his rail. Tall, dressed like he had somewhere important to be after this, every button polished, every medal in its proper place. He looked across at the rotten Kraken, at her patched sails, her salt-stained hull, her beautiful, honest, weathered face, and his expression did a very specific thing. It did not go angry, it did not go hostile, it went amused. Amused is worse than angry. Angry means they take you seriously enough to fight. Amused means they have already put you in a category below worth fighting. Amused is the look that says, I don't even need to compete with this. And then he opened his mouth. He called the rotten Kraken a fishing boat. Loud enough for his whole crew to hear, loud enough for my whole crew to hear. Said it casually, like you comment on the weather, like it was just an observation, not a weapon, like he was simply noting a fact about the world. His crew laughed. Of course they laughed. That's what crews do when the captain performs. That's what people do when someone with authority makes a joke at someone else's expense. They laugh because it's safer to be on the laughing side. And the rotten Kraken, my ship, went quiet. Now, here's what happened next on my ship, and I need you to watch this part carefully, because this is the part that most people rush past. This is the part that contains the actual lesson. The first thing that happens before any decision is made, before anyone says a word, is the body. The chest tightens, the jaw sets, the shoulders come up, the heat moves from the stomach upward. Every single person on that deck went through this in about half a second. I could feel it. It's automatic. It's not weakness. It's just biology. Your body doesn't know the difference between a lion and a laughing man on a boat. It just knows something attacked. And then, because most people have been taught that the appropriate response to an attack is defense, the instinct is to fight back. To say something clever, to list your credentials, to point out every accomplishment, every battle, every mile of open ocean you have covered, to make him understand that you are not a fishing boat, you are something serious, you are something worth respecting. And here's the brutal truth about that instinct. It doesn't work. Not because the things you say are not true. They might be completely true. Not because you don't deserve respect. You might deserve every bit of it. It doesn't work because the moment you start defending yourself to someone who is not asking in good faith, the moment you start explaining your value to someone who is not genuinely interested in your value, you have already lost the frame. You're not defending yourself, you're auditioning for their approval.
And the second you're auditioning, they're the judge. And judges don't respect performers, they evaluate them. There's also something else that most people miss, something that stings more than the insult itself. When you react loudly, when you get angry and defensive and loud, you're giving everyone watching a piece of information they didn't have before. You're telling them exactly how much it landed. You're telling them the precise size of the wound. And now they have that information, and they will use it. Not always intentionally, not always maliciously, but they will use it, because people use the information they have. React less than they expect. Always, every time, without exception. So, here's what I did. Nothing. I stood at my helm, both hands on the wheel, and I